Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you a success story from BNI. And if you are not familiar with BNI, it is the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area of North Carolina, working on 30 chapters, almost 700 members, great people to meet. And each week, like I said, each week we bring you a success story. And this week, Noemi Rodriquez, who is a mortgage consultant with Victorian Finance. Noemi, glad to have you here today.
Same here, Mike. Thank you for having me.
So you have been you've been since August 2018, so not long in
BNI?
BNI.
Actually, we were a different chapter. I've been in BNI probably August of 2017.
17. Okay,
Yeah,
I got my dates
17.
wrong. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Noemi is president of RD20, the Bridge to Success. If you are a morning person, they meet Tuesday mornings at 8:30 at the Iron Skillet in Mebane. So good breakfast
Yeah, it's a
for the
great
meeting,
breakfast.
right?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Nothing wrong with breakfast. So we're here towards the end of 2018. Victorian Finance for the company, for you personally. How's 2018 been?
2018 was actually great. I set a goal. I met my goal exactly on it, not one more, not one less. So I met my goal units wise, volume wise, and it's been great. We've got some big things coming working for the company. Some changes
Mm.
technology wise. So it's been a great year.
Is there is there a better way to gauge your business by units or total number?
I like to gauge my business on units.
Okay.
Some people will do volume, but I pride myself in helping a $40,000 loan or a $400,000 loan.
Okay.
So to me, units kind of means more.
Which is an individual client with
Correct.
needing a loan. Okay. All
Exactly.
right. And with the market right now, I mean, it's ridiculous at times
It is
trying to keep up with it and both.
very competitive as well.
Oh, everybody's in here, aren't they? All the,
Yep.
all the realtors. With the couple of people on the show we've had survived the recession, everything 2008, 2009, which weeded out that whole industry, the GCs, the realtors, and all that. Because
Yep.
like, oh, I can't survive on this. And so now, I don't know if it's that way in your world, but we hear stories from realtors all the time. Everybody's like, oh, I can sell a house. Everything's moving. It's like, that's not quite that easy.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's that easy. 2008, I was still in high school. I'm not gonna date myself. But I read a book called Financial Fiasco when I got into the industry,
Yes.
and when I read that book, it really showed how, it did weed out the ones that didn't wanna go through licensing
Yeah.
and the changes that we had to go through.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about how you got into it in just a minute. So if you need more information on BNI, on Triangle BNI, you can go to trianglebni.com. Give us a call, 919-465-1667. You can talk to Steve or Mary or Brenda. All three of them be a huge help to you. On the website, you can click on Find a Chapter, and it will tell you every day part. We've got chapters 5 days a week, morning, late morning, lunchtime, Monday through Friday. So find out what works for you, find out the location that works for you. You want to be able to get there, obviously, with work, with kids, with family, all that stuff. And then also, when you click on a chapter, it gives you the list of people in the chapter so you can find out who might be a good referral partner for you. Or you can send us an email at bni@bsoncommunications.com. We can get you some more information on Triangle BNI. So each week in a BNI chapter, there is a featured speaker. And depending on the size of your chapter, it is 5 or 10 minutes long. And every featured speaker is introduced by the member bio sheet. So, Noemi, we are going to do it this way. So, our speaker today, Noemi Rodriquez with Victorian Finance. She is a mortgage consultant. Location and years in the business.
Location, that's a good one. All over North Carolina. I've done a loan in Jacksonville, North Carolina, as far
Okay.
as Winston-Salem.
All right.
So I'm willing to travel.
Okay. And the
But
office is
the
where?
office is in Hillsboro.
Okay. How long has Victorian Finance been around? It's a quiz
Around
if your boss is listening. This is a quiz.
Sunny, well, don't tune in then. Around, we've been in establishment for 15 years, but they
Okay.
came to North Carolina. It's gonna be 5 years now in North
Okay.
Carolina.
Very good. Your previous types of jobs, and I have a list of your jobs after college. We generally get better stories of the high school jobs. So a good one or the most memorable one.
The most memorable,
It would be a good story.
high school jobs, my dad always told me, "If you guys play softball, And if you play softball and you get a scholarship, you do not have to work during high school.
Ooh.
So although my sisters worked with my father, and I didn't have to do that since I was the baby of the girls. So I played softball, got a scholarship. So I really didn't have a job during high school except babysitting the 18 cousins that I had. So that was my job.
All right. So where'd you grow up?
Miami, Florida.
All right. How good a softball player were you? And who would back that statement up?
I'm not gonna brag. I don't like to brag, but I did win a national championship and a state championship at Miami-Dade College.
Wow.
I would consider myself a good player, but a better teammate.
What position?
I played first my whole career until I got to Queens, and I played third base because
Right.
nobody was willing to scoop up that position. I said, I'll do it.
So that tells me power hitter.
Yeah, I'm more of a doubles kind of girl. Stand-up doubles, no sliding.
Okay. But would you take the catcher out at the plate if you're rounding third and here comes the throw?
Oh, yeah, I'd take you out at first, second, or third.
Next part of the bio sheet is personal information, family, spouse, children, animals.
I am married. That wasn't on the original bio, but I am married, and we just had a baby November 5th.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
So now I'm a mama.
So let's go back. Best job in the whole world, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. It's
you learn
exhausting,
but it is a great job.
Yes. Because my oldest son just had a baby, and I said, here's the deal. That baby, you will love that baby. You'll know a new level of love that you've never felt before and a new level of frustration. It's like, will you go to sleep? So one of the questions I ask people, how did you meet your husband, and do both of you tell the story the same way?
Actually, well, I'm going to interrupt now because it's my wife. So,
your wife might.
Yeah,
I
it's
apologize.
okay. It's okay.
I apologize.
And we would probably not tell the story the same way.
All right.
I met her when I was in Charlotte, and she left Charlotte, and I went to Delaware, and she actually got a job in Philadelphia. So we stayed in contact, and one thing led to another, and I swooped her up when she was at a low point in her life, and look at her now. She's now dealt with me for 6 years. So.
And how would she tell the story? Did she swept you up?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
But I like to say that I was the one that did the job.
Okay. Baby is a boy or a girl?
A boy.
Okay. What is his name?
His name is Oliver.
And that's my grandson's name. I like that.
Great, beautiful. Yeah, and he actually has 2 middle names. So it's Oliver Kind Octavio, which is my grandfather's name.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. It's great to carry on that family lineage.
It is. He's before Oliver, my grandfather is like the light of my life.
Okay. Oliver with both sides. Now, is he the first grandchild on both sides of the family?
No, on none of the sides of the family.
So he's the first grandchild.
He's the third grandchild on her side, and about the third on mine as well.
Right. So, but he's still a little bit spoiled.
Yeah, he's
he gets passed around at family gatherings.
He gets plenty of loving.
Okay, good. Animals.
I've got a cat, Duncan.
Why do you smile when you say I have a cat, Duncan?
Because before Oliver, everybody was like, you treat him like your baby. He's, you're too good to him. So Duncan was my baby. I got him when I was in college.
Okay.
And he's been with me ever since.
Is he a typical cat?
No, because a lot of people don't like cats. Like, there's two kind of people. You tell them you have a cat, and they're like, "Oh, I love cats," or it's I have a cat. Oh, I'm a dog person.
Guy,
But he's more like a dog.
Okay.
I walk him on a leash. He likes to be outside, but he got out once, so now we kind of tame him on a leash.
Okay.
He loves to sit at the window and look at the birds.
Is he the type of cat that'll mess with a Christmas tree?
He's been drinking the water out of the Christmas tree, but he hasn't been messing with it this year.
Because I hear stories, friends of ours have cats, and they'll climb up the tree and try to pull it down.
He did the first year when he was a kitten, and I kind of shut that down because I like a real Christmas tree. And I don't want my ornaments to be broken every year. So.
Okay. Hobbies and activities of interest.
Hobbies, activities of interest. Softball.
Yes.
I coach a little 12 and under team. I have a 12 and under team. I do some private lessons on the side. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. So, and then hiking, reading, watching the Marlins.
Yep, and we'll get to that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it.
All right. City of residence and how long?
I have been in Graham now for a year.
Okay.
And been in North Carolina for 3 years.
And I learned earlier you don't care for snow much.
I do not. Not that I like snow, but I can't drive in snow.
Well, a lot of
So,
Southerners can, so you're
yeah,
not
you're
alone.
right. But
You're
I'm
not
the
alone,
one
so.
that admits that I can't do it.
Okay, well, good for you. That puts you
Yes.
ahead of a lot of people, so. Your burning desire.
To climb Mount Everest.
Okay, hang on a second here.
But I don't like the snow. I know.
Please explain how you got to that.
Honestly, I have Snapchat, and they were putting videos of people that were starting and going through the climbing of Mount Everest, and just the view when they got to the top was breathtaking. And I thought I could do it, and then I started reading the statistics of how many people make it to the first, to the second, I guess the third round, because you have to sit and sleep in the on the mountain range. So it's still a burning desire, but I've got to get into very good shape before I do that.
I would imagine there are practice steps and things they want you to do leading up, climb small mountains, and
Yes.
then have you gotten to any of those yet?
We take a trip once a year. So, this year we're gonna go to Montana.
Ooh,
And
okay.
so we'll do Montana, which will allow me to kind of explore more of the hiking, real hiking.
Alright.
Um, Last year we went to Boone and we did the Blue Ridge the Blue
Oh,
Ridge.
beautiful,
So
isn't it? Yep.
I have some experience, but I don't have great balance either.
As a softball player, you don't
I
have great
know, but I
balance?
hit well, so that's why I
Fair
was
enough,
able
okay,
to
alright.
stay in the lineup.
A key to your success.
The key to my success is listening. I'm a good listener, and I try to make sure that I'm taking care of everybody's needs, and then hard work. My parents, always instilled that if you want something in life, you have to work hard.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I took into softball, and it led into my profession now. So I say hard work.
Well, and as a lender, you've gotta ask a bunch of questions to figure out where they are, what they're looking for, so that probably does force you to listen a bunch, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And asking the right questions
Yeah.
and making sure you know their needs.
'Cause a lot of times, I'm sure you get clients will come in, "We wanna buy this house," and they figure it's all a monetary thing. Because "Okay, here's what we make, here's what we wanna buy, we've been told this'll work." And sometimes there's a little bit more that goes into it, right?
Exactly. And that's why I say a mortgage consultant
And
instead of
fair, yeah.
a lender, because I'm gonna ask those questions. I'm not gonna fit you into one box. You're gonna kind of tell me what you need,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell you what's best for you.
And you're in one of those industries that people not in the industry think, "Oh, I know what they do. They just want these 7 answers to
Yeah.
questions," like, it's so easy, right? Just it's
Yes. They don't know the half of it
yeah.
really, and I didn't. And then
Oh, yeah.
I didn't, and then I got into it, and I thought, "What did I get myself into?"
I hope you like math.
I do.
Okay, good. Because 'cause
It was
let's
always
see,
my
you don't
strong.
like snow, but you wanna climb Mount Everest. You're in finance, but you don't like math, so I'm glad you
No,
like math.
I like math.
Okay, glad we got there. My favorite question, something no one knows about you, and a lot of people here meeting you for the first time, so what do we not know about you that's a good story to tell?
Something no one knows about
Yeah.
me
What haven't you told your BNI chapter yet?
that I'm
Yes.
willing to talk about.
Yes.
Do we wanna go there? My wife just found this one out, and she didn't know. I was born with an extra piece of skin on my ear, so we had to have surgery when I was born to remove that, and that's just something nobody knows about me because I don't share it often, and I said it the other day, "Oh, I had surgery when I was, like, 2 days old." It was just to remove this extra piece of skin in my ear. 'Cause I'm pretty open with my chapter. We're really close, so I usually have to come up with something extra out of the ordinary.
Okay.
So that's it. So now
Alright.
you all know.
Well, that's a first. We've not had that yet on the show, so we like first. One of the things I like doing reason I like doing this show is to educate people on BNI. And one of the first questions I ask is literally, when's the first time you ever heard BNI?
When I heard BNI, so when I started in the industry, I actually was working under John DeHart. He's our regional manager now. And I was working as his loan officer assistant. He was in a BNI. And he told me must have been 2 weeks I was in the industry. And he said, "You're gonna sub for me at BNI." I said, "Okay, what is it?" "It's just a networking group." "Okay, I can do that." I remember walking in and there's, 15, 20 other professionals. I'm second week on the job. And they're like, "Okay, Noemi, you're up. Now you need to talk for 60 seconds." Like, nobody told me I had to do this. I was
Shame on
just
John.
subbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first time I heard of BNI, and I went to a BNI, and I remember being scared out of
Mhm.
my mind. Like, what am I gonna talk about? I don't even know what I do. It's only been 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So, first time BNI.
And that's one of the neat things about BNI. Not only will it help you grow a business, but the things that come out of that are public speaking.
Yep.
So you have to stand up, and again, depending on the size of your chapter, it's 30, 45, or 60 seconds, but it forces you to do that. And sometimes it's a small room, but still public speaking, not for a lot of people.
Yep, that's true.
So what were your first thoughts? So obviously when you went to the meeting, you had no expectations because you didn't know what it was. So when you left the meeting, what were you thinking about with regard to BNI and how it may help you at Victorian Finance?
Well, a lot of the people in Victorian Finance in the Durham area were in a BNI, so I kind of figured out quickly the success it brought them. But the people were so welcoming in John's BNI, and it really was a good. I knew I needed to network, especially because I had moved here from Miami. So it just was a group of people that I needed that connection, and it was just I just kind of fell in my lap.
So after you visited and you left, went back to work, you're talking with John, what were the next steps to getting you into BNI?
I subbed at a couple BNIs for him and a couple other people, and then, no mortgage seat is open, it's like a prime
Oh, I
seat.
know. Yep.
So the BNI, our Bridge to Success, they started a chapter and I got asked to go to that
Yeah.
chapter, and I knew once, I saw the success with John that I wanted to get in one, so I was just subbing, kind of going around a few, and then that one opened up, and I didn't think twice, I put in my application right away.
And what kind of impact did you when you first got in there, 'cause it can be overwhelming.
Correct.
There's 38 things I could do, I need to pass referrals and all that stuff. So what did you find out as you kept going to each meeting and once you officially joined the chapter, then how did you start thinking, "Okay, I need to start doing this, start doing that, this'll work?"
Yeah, at first, you think of the model giver's gain, so you're
Mhm.
trying to find out who can I give all these referrals to, who can I help, and then I realized, oh, I need to focus on my power team,
Yes.
focus on the insurance agent, the realtor, the attorney, and then kind of have my ears open for them, and then opening their business and opens to some of the other power groups. So at first, I was just like a crazy person. Well, how am I gonna give this flooring person
I
job
know.
business, or how am I gonna give the roofing person business? I don't know anybody that has a claim, but then you realize, well, when you start feeding the people that are more
Mhm.
closely related, then it kind of triggers the snowball effect.
Yep. And we're talking with Noemi Rodriquez, mortgage consultant with Victorian Finance, and she had just mentioned power teams. And in each BNI chapter, there's 4 power teams. There's the real estate power team, the B2B power team, the personal services power team, and the financial power team. And what that group does is they get together each week. So on the real estate side, you've got the realtor, the lender, the insurance person, if there's a home inspector, a carpet cleaner, anybody that goes into a house or does a transaction with a homeowner. So then y'all get together and kind of put a plan together,
Correct.
right? So how long? So what kind of things does your power team? What kind of things do you guys talk about?
So we just kind of go through certain goals each month. And what we've been focusing on, I know me and the attorney, is when she's trying to get with a realtor, a new realtor, or trying to open our networks at other areas, we go together.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it makes you feel more loose and more like yourself. If you're going
Mhm.
to a networking meeting, or if you're going to just a lunch with somebody you've never met, you can be a little tense, a little bit
Oh yeah.
tighter. But when you have somebody that either knows them, or you have somebody there
You
as
got a
your
wingman.
support, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of stuff as wingman, and we also just have grown a relationship farther than BNI. It's just a family.
Mm.
So we get together and we drink beers after hours, and
Yep.
we just talk about, bounce ideas off of each other. How can I grow my business? Has nothing to do with the insurance business, but I'm trying to put together questionnaires to help my clients. What are you doing in your industry? What
Mhm.
things are you seeing? So just bouncing ideas off of each other.
Good. And do you get a chance to visit because, you're in one of those coveted either the realtor or the PNC or the finance person, every chapter has that. Are you able to visit many chapters?
I will be honest, I was visiting a lot of chapters, and then my business kind of boomed, so I kind of pulled it,
Okay.
just had to make sure I was
Yeah.
allotting my time correctly. But yeah, I still visit quite a bit of chapters, and I kind of see how the president is doing it, how
Mhm.
what things are they doing that is successful so that we can implement it to our chapter.
Same way with you. Like to go
Yep.
visit, just make notes. I tell people that I procure ideas. I never steal anything. I just
You just
procure them. Procurement officer for my chapter. I bring it back. So, all right. So you're one of the few people with degrees from 3 schools, which not a fan of. That makes me feel bad because I only have one. So
Wow.
you started out at Miami-Dade. You went there to play softball, got an associate's degree.
Correct.
Was that the whole plan, was to just go there to play softball, to start everything?
Well, this long story here, but I'll go long story short. My dad was actually the coach, the assistant coach at Miami-Dade College. My sister is 10 months, 26 days older than me, and she had signed at Miami-Dade College. And I was getting some interest from other schools, but I had gotten a Florida's Bright Future scholarship, which allowed me to basically go to school, get paid to go to school, if that makes any sense. So I just realized that I can be in Miami, I could play with my sister, have my dad there, get paid, and the team was actually very good. So it was just a perfect fit for me. And then we won that national championship that first year I was there. So it just kind of all the pieces were already put together.
S How cool was that winning a national championship?
It is probably one of the greatest memories that I have.
I
I
bet.
the tournament was in Utah,
Okay.
and just the scenery of what the fields
Mhm.
with the red clay background, and when we were about to win, the parents bringing the champagne and us feeling like we had won the
Mhm.
World Series. It was at
Oh,
a
yeah.
smaller
Yeah.
scale, but we went 58-7 that year.
Wow.
Everybody walked into the initial meeting. Everybody had to write down their goals, and every single person put, "We're gonna win a national championship."
Were you that good preseason?
They the year before, they had fell a little bit short,
Okay.
and they had goals, and they had just brought the right pieces to the puzzle with the freshmen,
Mhm.
and we were that good. I didn't think we had good leaders.
Mhm.
We had just everything you need in a team. Leaders, the support people, the ones that aren't playing but are
Mhm.
happy that they're
Yeah.
not playing because they get to cheer and experience it. So, just a perfect dynamic.
The national tournament in Utah, how many teams went qualified to go there?
1 from 2 from every well, 2 from Florida. I think there was 24 at
Okay.
the national
Double elimination?
double elimination.
Okay.
Correct.
So I went to the University of Tennessee, and we have a wonderful softball team. So I
You
watch a
do.
lot of Lady Vol softball. I love the cheers in the dugout
Oh,
and the camaraderie of it. And a lot of times on any college team, we don't know the inside jokes, but we know they're going on in the dugout all the
yes.
time. So the camaraderie was probably half the fun in the dugout, right?
Oh, I mean, there's people that say, "I can't watch softball. The cheering is just too much for me." Like, the cheering is what it's all
Oh
about.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And we made it a point to cheer as loud as we could to get into the other pitcher's head or the
Yeah.
other team's head. We had a lot of international kids as
Oh,
well,
okay.
so it was Spanish cheers, it was Brazilian cheers, it was it was just a mix of all crazy kinda cheering. We had 2 girls on the team, Genesis and Tamara, and they'd call themselves the heart and the soul. And at the start of the game, they had 2 balls, the bucket lids, and it was just like a concert. And I know why the other teams didn't like us because we were just all about we were the best music and the best team. So even between, it's double headers in the game. In between the 2 games, we'd have a little concert for our fans. It was just a good time. It was a great time.
At any point in the postseason, were you close to being eliminated?
Yes. That is a story if you wanna hear
I
one.
want to hear it.
So we were in the game, and our best player had gone into home plate. She was a bigger, stronger, she never slid, and she went into home plate, and she hit the catcher, and they threw her out of the game.
Oh,
Number 1 pitcher with number 1 hitter, thrown her out of the game. So we were down by a run. That last to put us into the elimination bracket, and it's hard to get yourself out of that
mm,
elimination bracket. And I wasn't the best player, but I always worked hard, and I remember, going we were losing by 1 run, and there was 2 people in the bench that could hit, me and another girl, and he picked me. And I went up and I said, "This is your chance. You haven't played much this year. This is what you've been working on 12 hours a day." And I went up and I got a hit, and we ended up winning that game. And when we got her back, nobody could beat us after that. It was like, you took our best player, we still beat you. If she wanted to hurt the catcher, she would have. And nobody was stopping us from there. So we were close, but the camaraderie that we had, that we knew, hey, she was out, the next person's going to step in.
The value of a pitcher in softball is like a goalie in hockey. If you have that one dominant one, you can ride forever.
Correct.
And they can pitch. And that's the other thing people don't understand in softball. It's an underhand motion, which is a more natural pitching motion. So you could throw a triple hitter in a day if you wanted to, right?
Correct. And we had 2 of those number 1 pitchers, really. So it wasn't fair. Let's
Well,
be
that's okay as
honest.
long as it worked for you, right?
Yeah,
And you were there how long?
2 years.
Okay. How many of those players went on to play Division One?
Division 1? About half.
Okay.
Either mostly about 80% went on to play either Division 1 or Division 2.
Okay.
There was a couple that went to play NAIA.
All right. But they all moved. Most of them moved on because you're that good.
Most of them moved on. The ones that didn't were because they were really focused on, their school or professions. But I think everybody could have really moved on.
All right. And then you went on to Queen's University so first of all, you have 3 degrees. Second of all, you got a major and a minor. I'm not really happy talking about this, okay? So you go to Queen's University of Charlotte, you get a major in business and a minor in communication. Why the focus on those 2?
Business, I just knew that business was I was good at it. It interested me even in high school, just taking our economics classes and those classes. And then minor in communication because I always said I wanted to be a comedian. So I just said, hey, these classes are interesting and I can take them. And I had to take at least 15 credits. So I just doubled down and took some communication classes.
And why Queens? What got you there?
Queens God put me at Queens. I always say that. I was looking at other schools, and my uncle at the time was in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And he played slow pitch. Our family, we're Cuban. Everybody plays softball, baseball. And so he was at a park playing slow pitch, and Queens practices at that park. And he went up to the coach and he said, hey, no offense, you've got a great team, but my niece hits better than any girl on that team. And the coach said, oh, really? Well, why don't you have her email me, call me, and send me a video? And a month later, I was signed. 80% scholarship plus my academic scholarship. Those kind of things don't happen. Nobody's as outspoken as my uncle to go up to that coach and say, hey, your girls aren't as good as my niece. So it just kind of happened. I think God put me at Queens, and it was where I had to be.
I agree with you on those stories. Sometimes they come out of nowhere. And my guess is at that level of Queens and schools at that level, they need an introduction sometimes just from somebody like your uncle that says, hey, I got somebody for you.
Correct.
Because I don't think their scouting budget or recruiting budget is probably.
It's not what it is for a Division One. I mean, and we won't get into that. That's just too much for me to get into. But and they need at those smaller schools, junior college transfers, somebody that has experience and those kind of things. So it just kind of fell on their lap.
And how'd the team do there?
We did well. We fell short both years. I mean, we had winning seasons both years, but fell short of what I wanted to be. But it was a great experience as well.
Did you have the international flair in the dugout?
Well, I left Miami and said, well, these people are just meeting me. They don't know me. I'm not going to be as crazy as I was.
You thought you were going to blend in?
I was going to blend in. I had those white girls, I'm going to say it, doing Spanish cheers in the dugout. They still do those Spanish cheers. I had Brazilian cheers I taught them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was the only Spanish speaker on the team, but we were cheering in Spanish.
Now, their traditional rivals before you got there, then when they saw you with the cheers you taught them, they must have been looking over there like, what just happened?
What is going on? Yeah, the rivals just increased the rivalry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too funny.
Yep, it is funny.
Then you moved on to Wesley College?
Yep.
What got you there? And why the MBA?
I graduated from Queens, and my heart was always in softball. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I didn't wanna be an adult. Let's just put it
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And so I found, um my wife was already in Philadelphia, and so I started looking around in that area,
Mhm.
and I just found Wesley College in Delaware, Dover, Delaware, and they were looking for a grad assistant. So again,
Okay.
I can coach the softball team and get my school paid for.
Oh, it's a great setup, isn't it?
I mean, it's too easy.
Had you heard of Wesley College before that time?
I had not heard of Wesley
Okay.
College. I just kind
Beautiful.
of went around and kinda
Mhm.
got some names, and it was just the right fit.
Okay. Another door, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is your wife athletic?
She played softball at NC State, a catcher.
Okay. So, probably a
I'm better
couple
than her.
I was just gonna go. How many conversations do you have, and is there video to prove whoever was the better player? Do we have tape from both colleges,
She's
from
a li
both careers?
Yes, she is a little bit older than me, a couple years,
And you
so
remind her of that all the time, probably, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So they don't have as much footage, I think, of her, but she's 6'2"
Oh, and a catcher?
and a catcher,
Oh,
so
okay.
her arm is stronger than me. Her hitting, she's a little bit stronger than me, but I
Okay.
think we can compare. We played in adult league last year in Greensboro,
Oh, you must have taken them by
and I
storm.
and I shined. We
Oh,
both
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she's got a twin sister, she was a pitcher, she's a catcher, I played third. They were probably, "What are these what are
Oh, they
these
loved it
fools?"
when you 3 walked up and said, "Hey, can we join
Can
your
we join a
team?"
team? Yep.
So, Oliver's got a shot here
Oh,
with
yeah.
some genes, right?
He does.
And some knowledge and some coaching. He's gonna grow up to be a coach's son from both sides. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good things happening for
We'll
him,
see what
right?
he wants we'll see what
Okay.
he wants to do,
And he'll be bilingual, no doubt?
for sure.
Okay. Okay, so you grew up in Miami. Cuban influence, obviously huge in Miami. Or where were your folks born? How'd they get to Miami?
My mom was born in Miami.
Okay.
My father was born in Cuba.
Mhm.
He came when he was 4. His parents came on the Freedom flights.
Okay.
So, they came on the Freedom flights, and him and his brothers and his sister. My grandmother on my mom's side had already been here, so she had all her 3 kids in Miami. But
Alright.
that's how they got there.
Okay. The Cuban and it's nice of you to spread that Cuban influence all up the East Coast.
That's what I wanted to do. The Cuban flair, the spice is what they say.
And look at Major League Baseball. I'm gonna divert here for a second on sports because I love talking about sports. The the players from the Caribbean players, the Dominican, Central America, however you wanna say that, the flair for baseball, the American player is not a big fan of that, the bat flips and stuff like that, but, I mean, that's kinda what kids wanna see because they
Yeah.
play Madden football and they're doing all this stuff in a baseball, the bat flip, and I always wanna tell these pitchers who complain, "Well, don't throw him a home run ball." If the kid doesn't hit a home run on you, he's not gonna flip the bat.
Correct. I think that we are just so passionate about
Yes.
everything we do, and that passion we can't contain that passion. Even if we know that we might be embarrassing or sometimes the passion takes us I don't know if you know Yasiel Puig,
Yep. Oh, he
but
catches. Oh, yeah.
the passion that he has and the love for the game just kinda seeps through, and you can't contain that.
And he was misunderstood when he first came up because, again, a
Correct.
lot of these American-born players and baseball has an older fan base. They're like, "No, this is not how we play the game," and other people are telling them, "Yeah, this is
It's
kinda how
gotta
it's gonna start."
Yep,
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of
Yeah.
both and understanding, but once you get passionate about something
And what a player. I
yep,
mean, arm, ugh, he's good.
he
Your
is
favorite
good.
player, one of your favorite players?
My favorite player, we won't get into that because it was Jose Fernandez, and
Oh, sad story. Because
yeah,
what a
so
career what a talent.
I've got a lot every player is my favorite. If they're on the Marlins,
Okay.
I kinda find a love for them. Right now, I would say Yelich.
Okay.
Christian Yelich
Oh, yeah?
is my
Yeah.
favorite player.
Even though he's not playing for the Marlins anymore?
It's a sore spot.
We'll probably talk about Derek Jeter another day and stuff like that, but Yelich had a heck
Great
of a
year.
year. MVP with Milwaukee. I know you're sad to see him go and Stanton go, but
But you know what? I'm happy that they're
yes, yeah,
excelling.
they ended up in good places, and we'll see if Jeter's plan works, but that's another show we'll get
Yep.
into. Okay. You obviously are bilingual.
Correct.
2 languages?
2 languages. Since the Brazilians were at Miami-Dade, I
Okay.
can understand the language and speak back in Spanish if they speak slowly. So
Okay.
I would say 2.5, two
If
and a quarter.
Okay. So if you were on a plane and you landed in Brazil later on this afternoon, could you get to the hotel, get your way around town?
Yes, for sure,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Alright. So 2 and a quarter, 2.5, I like
Yep.
that. And you are the only this is what a neat thing I found out about you. You're the only agent in the region that is bilingual. So what has that done for your bottom line in your business?
I can't even say in words where how much my business has grown. In Victorian Finance, we did hire a couple of assistants that speak Spanish, but as loan officers, I'm the only one. And there's just a need for that business in the area. And so I get calls from realtors, "Hey, I heard that you speak Spanish. Can you go ahead and call this client?" This random client, short story, random client walked into his neighbor's house. They saw it was on sale, and the realtor found my number, called me. He didn't know the house was sale. He didn't know how much it was, got him qualified. We closed, and kind of those things where I don't really need to go out and get that business because once they know, it's just there's a need for
The
it.
community's tight,
Yep,
and once they know that they can call you and it's more comfortable, right? Doing
correct.
business.
Of course, and we're talking about things, numbers. We're getting into so many personal details that just that level of just trust
Yeah.
and being able to express how you feel and express everything that's going on through that process, it helps.
Well, and also the translation because if something gets lost in
Mhm.
translation, "Oh, no, we said 50,000, not 500,000," but something like that, you get a comma out of place or an inspection and something like that doesn't get fixed. I mean, that's gonna be crucial to a sale, right?
Oh, yeah, it can. I pride myself on going to all the closings,
Mhm.
but I don't really have a choice with my Spanish speaking clients. I'm gonna be at that closing because I've gotta make sure if they have any questions, the attorneys, they're doing the paperwork in English, but
Yeah,
they don't understand.
yeah.
So those kind of things, it's very important.
That's gotta put them at ease, the client at ease,
Yep.
knowing you're in the room there.
It makes it just much more relaxed.
Yeah. So how did you get to alright, we'll get to Victorian Finance second. How did you get in the industry? You like math, we figured that out. You didn't know much about the finance world. So what door opened there for you?
My wife was working at Crowsdale Country Club in Durham, and she'd go by Coleman Road and pass by those big weather signs. And she said, "Have you looked into Victorian Finance?" I don't even know what a Victorian Finance is. So I emailed the regional and said, "Hey, I'm going to be moving to Durham after I get my MBA. I would like to talk about the industry and see if you have any job openings." Well, at the time, I didn't know anybody will accept it. A loan officer, like to the new salesperson. So I talked to him, kind of got a feel for him, and spoke to our owner of the company. And I just felt like it was a time where the industry was doing well, and there was definitely a need for it in the area. And I felt a level of comfort with our owner and with John that I just said, "You know what? I'm gonna try it out." And John and our owner Sonny told me, "Look, Noemi, no strings attached. If in a year you hate the industry, you can just tell me I'm taking a hike and I'm gone." And now we're 3 years into it and I'm still here. So that tells you something.
When you were in Philadelphia, well, when you're getting ready to get your MBA, looking at other fields to go into, what kind of places were you looking at?
I always said I wanted to be a financial planner. So
Okay.
I had a
Mm,
job position with Fidelity. I had, those kind of my mom has always been in banking. My brother-in-law's in banking.
okay.
So it was definitely in the family. My mom was a teller at 16 and then just worked her way up. So I knew that I wanted to be a financial planner. And what I realized easily is now I get to see credit, income, and assets. I'm more than a financial planner. I'm your life planner. I'm gonna get you to where I'm not just gonna put you in a house. I'm gonna get you ready for the long term.
So when you meet with a client, you literally get to see the books. You
Yes.
see
The
everything, you
nitty-gritty.
hear where they are, what their plans are and stuff like that. So how does that help you? Because we always talk about on the show BNI, once you join BNI, it helps you listen different.
Correct.
Because now I've got somebody for that. So as you're going through this process with them, how does that get you to potential referrals for your chapter?
Oh, it's so the first thing I'm gonna go over everything, credit, income, and assets. So it's very easy first where and I'll just talk about assets. I can look at their pay stubs And when I look at their pay stubs, I can see that there's no 401k taken out. I can see that there's no life insurance taken out. So that right there is an easy, I don't
Yep.
even need to bring it up. I already see it on the pay stubs, and then I can kind of, "Oh, hey, do you have 401k?" "Well, my work might offer it, but I'm not doing it." And then I can introduce, the reasons why those are good things for you. So my ears are enhanced
Mhm.
for them, but for my contacts at BNI because I know what that means to the client in the long term.
Yeah. And we also talk on the show with BNI. You'd mentioned it earlier, givers gain, but the other one is like, know, and trust. And when you join or when you apply to a chapter, the one to ones you have to do so they can kind of get to know you to like, know, and trust you is a little bit of work, but it pays off at the end when you join the chapter and they're sending all their business to you.
Yeah, definitely. The one-to-ones are I feel like the most important thing
Mm.
with BNI because you get to I get to know you. Now I know you like baseball,
Mhm.
right? You love
Yep.
baseball. So if I wanna make a connection with a client, most of my Spanish speaking clients, they like baseball.
Yeah.
"Oh, well, this guy's a Yankees fan," like, and you can
We're not
kind
going to
of,
do a loan for him.
yeah, we can kinda go through, and then banter,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and so it opens up the door for finding out what my partners at BNI, the things they like so that I can connect and make sure that, I'm giving a trusted referral, but how am I gonna connect it a little bit more for that client? Like, I
Yes.
trust you, Noemi, but now I trust you a little bit more because I feel like I know this guy.
Yeah. We all hate cold calling. And again,
Yes.
one of the other lines for BNI is the cure for the common cold call. When I would walk into an office or building and, pitching them either pest control or cleaning and stuff like that, I'm begging for a picture or a logo, something other than cleaning or pest control to talk
That you
about. Same thing, just give me a look. I don't care what school it is. I can start a
figure it
conversation
out.
with it, right? Same type of thing, but those are the things that connect people.
Yep. It's very interesting what you can kind of find out about a
Yeah.
person and then just go from there.
Yeah, because most people don't wanna be sold. They know, "Okay, it's a lender calling me. Okay, I gotta do this," and all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, you're talking baseball. It's like, "I'm gonna call you back."
Yep. Exactly.
Obviously, your relationship with a realtor is key. And who's the realtor in your chapter?
Well, we have an open seat for the
Okay,
realtor.
here's your chance to plug it.
So, plug the open seat. I mean, our chapter is small, but we say we're small, but we're mighty. And we say that because we're a family and we hang out together. We know what each other's, what makes us tick. And we're looking for a realtor that meshes with the group, but somebody that's going to be busting their chops and just going hard after anything. And the main thing that connects our group is I'm not going to turn away a $20,000 loan. I'm going to work for that person the same way I work for $1 million loan. And I can call my insurance agent and say, "Hey, I need you to work with this client. He might not go with you, but we need to find him an alternative. Can you do this?" And he'll do it right away. So that kind of camaraderie that we have, most of the chapters are going to say they have that camaraderie and they do, but I feel like ours is a little heightened.
And I'm glad you mentioned the 20,000 versus the 400,000 because anybody in business, sometimes you get ahead of yourself. "Oh, I only deal with 1,000,000 and
And
up," and you're that's a small pond to fish in.
yep,
There's many more people that need $100,000 loan and stuff like that. So what separates you I always like to ask people because there's tons of lenders in the area. So what separates you from them?
from them
Yes.
is I'm going to take the time to go through the whole picture. Um Small short story, but I met with a client and his brother, and I said, "Well, what kind of loan do you have?" He said, "Well, I have an FHA loan." And I said, "Well, why do you have that loan type? You already have equity in the house." "Oh, well, it's the loan that the lender put me in." That's fine and dandy, but did you think about how long you were going to be living in that house? Because I can save you this amount of money through mortgage insurance. So I'm going to look at the now, I'm going to look at the past, and I'm going to look at the future. So that kinda sets me apart, and some of my referral partners, my realtor partners, like, "Noemi, you're wasting your time." But to me, it's not a waste of time because they're gonna call me back, they're gonna get their second, they're gonna get their third, they're gonna tell their parents or their cousins that I took care of them, and that financial I told you I wanted to be a financial planner. I'm a life planner. I'm gonna try to make their long-term I want you to go on vacation with your kids. I want you to go to the movies with your kids. I don't want you to have to be worrying about how you're gonna
Yeah.
make your mortgage payment. So,
It
that kinda
yeah, and a lot of times, and we are talking about this earlier, we think we know, but
Yep,
if you're the person sitting in that seat dealing with that client at the time didn't tell them, we may only most of us don't. We know FHA, we know we know we all know the alphabets, but
yep,
we really don't know what those mean.
exactly. And for me, my job is saying, "Okay, this is what your needs are. This is what is best for you, and you're gonna have to trust me."
Hmm.
And I think by building the relationship and getting to know them, their family, what they're going through, they gain that sense of trust and say, "Okay, Noemi is doing what's best for me." And they might say, "Hey, my friend got a conventional loan and that might have been better for your friend, but
Yeah.
here are the reasons why this makes sense for you."
And another thing I like to talk to people about is because of people like you who will take the $20,000 loan, I think are going to expand their business and grow because when you first meet that person, you have no idea who they know.
Yep,
And if you did all that work for a $20,000 loan and he has 4 friends that are multimillionaires, you just opened a door right there.
yep,
And that's why you always, and again, we go back to attendance at me. Just show up because you
uh-huh,
never know who's going to walk in.
correct.
Do you remember your first referral that you received in BNI?
Yes.
Alright.
And the first referral that I received in BNI, and I remember because I'm currently working through the process of getting her mother qualified.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, so she was my first closed referral at BNI. Um, it was about, $60,000 loan,
Okay. Yeah.
and her mom has never owned a home before, but she's been under the same job for 26 years. And to me, those kind of things, I've grew that because of just working that one referral, getting to know her, taking care of her, and now I'm taking care of her mom.
And that
And
makes your day, doesn't it?
it does. It does definitely makes it worthwhile.
Oh, to do a loan for a first-time home buyer in general
Correct.
has to be fulfilling, but when you see somebody at that age having never owned a home before, that's gotta be kinda cool going through that
To go
process
through
with
that,
her.
yes, it means so much to me.
Do you and again, we talked about earlier, when you first joined BNI, it can be overwhelming, and you're thinking, "I've gotta give 12 referrals to 18 people every week and do it." Do you and a lot of it eventually happens organically because as we are talking earlier, you're taught to listen different.
Yep.
So, your neighbor could have been complaining about their lawn. If you don't know a landscaper, you're of no help, but now you join BNI, got a landscaper, now the next time they complain, "I got
I got a
somebody for you to
guy.
go." Yeah, I know a guy. Do you remember the first referral you passed?
Oof. Do I remember
Or
this?
to who it might have been to.
Definitely to Lance Harden.
Okay,
He's our insurance agent.
alright.
Um, I just hit it off with him. He likes hunting, he likes fishing. My dad hunts, my dad
There
fishes,
you
we
go.
do that. And he just he takes care of the client the same way I would.
Good.
So and now he gets everything. I say, "Hey, call my guy."
As it should be, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because if they trust you and you know that he's going to listen to them to figure out what they need,
Mhm.
not what he wants to sell them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Every industry has their perceptions, no matter what it is, okay? What are a couple of myths that you can debunk about the mortgage finance industry that we think we know, but that's not really the way it works? Or you would tell people, "This is why you call me because I do this."
Oof, that's tough.
Because we think you're sitting there, we think I walk into you, it's all about the numbers. If I don't make this, I can't get that, and I just need to keep renting forever. Is that true?
That's not true.
Right.
So, one of the myths is you need 20% down to buy a home.
Yes, hear that all
I
the
hear
time.
that a lot of times. I need 20% down to buy a home. Well, that is not true, not even for a conventional loan. You need minimum 3 or 5%. So that one myth debunked right there. You do not need 20% down, and facts are that USDA loans, which is 100% financing, have the least amount of defaults. And people think, "Oh, if I don't
Huh.
put 20% down, I'm it's gonna be riskier for the banks." No, frankly, that's not true. So that's one. 2 is if I don't have a 640 credit score, I can't get into a
Yeah.
loan.
Yep.
That might be for some banks because there's overlays. That's not true with Victorian. And another thing that I pride myself on is if you're not there, we're going to get you there. We're going to put you in the place and find the repair companies or work with you to get you above to that 640 or wherever the case may be.
And sometimes with a client, they may just need a couple months of tidying things up, right?
Correct.
But
They
if you're not but if you're not willing to listen and ask the questions, then you probably lost a
you
client, right?
yeah, and you don't know how many times I call somebody and I ask them, they're like, "Well, I want to buy a house, but I've got issues." And I've been trying to work
Who doesn't,
and I and right? We all do, girl.
right?
No, and I've been trying to work on them, but I don't know what I need to do.
Yeah.
Great. You are with 100% of Americans that don't know how credit works.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you a little bit of how it works. And so just that of them saying, "Hey, nobody's ever tried to help me," or somebody ran my credit, said I couldn't do this, and then turned away. I'm going to follow up a month after, 2 months after. "Hey, have you done those kind of changes? What do you need me to help you with?"
Okay, I want 10% of this idea, and I'm gonna take full credit for giving it to you, and if you're doing it already, I didn't know you did it, but you need to start doing lunch and learns
I
for
know.
people, not necessarily females or in the Cuban community, the Hispanic community, but you need to do that, and you get people there because we don't know. We hear on in these horrible commercials, 740, 750, your credit score this, or I love these, if your credit score is below this, call us, we'll fix it for you, and they might, but they might take $1,500 from
From
you to
you.
do that. But just and with a lot of industries, it's just with you, it's the education to the
Correct.
customer, isn't it?
It is, and I'm glad you said that. So this is my 3rd year in the industry. So I did my goals already for 2019, and top priority of the goals was doing more seminars, more lunch and learn
You'll be good at it.
so that I can educate.
Yep.
And this is just the idea that I have is I'm a mortgage consultant,
Mhm.
but long term, I want to create like Noemi's financial school literacy,
You
like
need to
something
Yep.
like that, so that it's not just now, it's for the future. And that's gonna grow the economy. That's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
help everybody.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they may just need a few months to get something in order, or you may tell them, I need you to save $2,000. That'll lower the loan, or it could do any kind of thing, and they think, "All right, 8 months, okay, I can do this, I can do that." But just that much information from somebody like you is like, "Ooh, I could buy my first house."
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, because some people don't realize probably how close they are.
Well, I did a loan this year for somebody that said, I know I can't buy a house." Told her property manager, "I can't buy a house," and she had never made a late payment. He said, "Talk to my girl." It's a BNI referral.
There you
"Talk to
go.
my girl." She's like, "I can't get a loan, and my credit's bad."
You're all about that challenge,
It
aren't you?
was the easiest loan I had ever done in my life. It was a breeze. Been on the job for, more than 10 plus years, had good, assets. Her credit was not great, not bad, just above average. And to me, the fact that she thought she couldn't buy a
Mhm.
house was mind-boggling. And me just
Yep.
thinking I could do this loan in my sleep, really.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yep.
And I'm gonna help you with your lunch and learns, okay? I'm gonna be your
I
promoter, and I'll be your PR person out there, but I really do think you need to do that, because of your age, you're a young female, bilingual, in a smaller town or whatever. I think that's huge. I think you could do very well. Yes. I'm very smart to think of that. Yes. Oh, wait, she's smart. Oh, I thought you
We
said I
both
was
wait,
smart to think
it's
of it.
alright. I'll hire you, though. That's all right. You can take 10% of the credit.
Okay, we're good. And I'll cheer for the Marlins when they're not playing the Astros,
Thank
okay?
you.
So you talked real quick about your 2019 goals. What else is on that list?
On that list, so I've got my business goals, my unit goals that I wanna meet. I've got the lunch and learns, with mixing with the seminars. I wanna do a client appreciation party,
Very nice.
and I mean a party. I have a DJ already lined up,
Oh,
some
the
Cuban
music is gonna
food,
be great, isn't it?
just a kickoff to the summer kinda party. I've got my personal goals of our family vacation, and I talked a little bit about the comedy.
Mhm.
I've done some stand-up, so I've got my goal to do at least 6 shows this year.
Very nice.
So, you've gotta set your business goals, but you've gotta set personal ones too,
Yes, you
and
do.
those that mean something to you.
So, a part of 2018, what percentage would you credit to your bottom line that BNI has meant to you?
BNI was probably roughly 20 to 25% of my business in
And
2018.
we tell people each week, if you could go to one meeting a week and get 20 to 25% of your bottom line done just by meeting people, why would you not go there? TriangleBNI.com. Love for you to go there. There's a button at the very top. Find a chapter. You can research that. You can call us at 919-465-1667. Talk to Steve or Mary or Brenda. They will help you. And you will meet people like Noemi who are successful. They're wanting to help. And those are the types of people in BNI that we love hearing success stories about and talking about. It was great having you here today. Good luck with your 2019 goals and young
Thank you,
Oliver.
Mike.
And we will see you next week on Triangle BNI with our guest, Marcella Stewart, who is with Mary Kay. Another wonderful success
Mhm.
story. We'll see you next week on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.